All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha, Rukak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. Honors to the Yakim, doing the work, presenting their bodies a living sacrifice, bringing you this 144% truth. And a sincere shalom to the hopeful 1/3. This is going to be a real quick one. This is not going to be a lengthy sit down. It's about 3 in the morning here in Colorado. Saw this video on my YouTube feed while I was at the plantation today. Two quick precepts jumped out to me. So this is going to be real short and sweet and to the point. First precept that jumped out to me was Obadiah 1 and 2. Esau being made small amongst the heathen and being greatly despised. And the second one being Joel, let the weak say I am strong, and without further ado, we're just going to jump right into this, and then I'll go into the blue letter and grab these for you. But yeah.
So China is giving more weapons to Pakistan, but they're nothing like what we're about to show you. Chinese soldiers stationed along the border with India have some new weapons. They were struggling to operate in high altitudes in the difficult climatic conditions. So China is bringing in robots to help. You heard that right. China is deploying robotic weapons along the border with India.
You heard what she said, man. China is deploying robotic weapons, and we know, pursuing back to the prophecies, back when Jacob and Esau both got their blessings, Esau's gift was the sword, and he was to live off the fatness of the earth. But here in the end times, it's prophecy that he will be made small amongst the heathen, and he will become greatly despised, pursuing the book of Obadiah. So I'm just going to read Obadiah 1 and verse 2, and then we'll move on. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us arise up against her in battle. And an ambassador is a messenger sent amongst the heathen. You know what I'm saying? Verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And what is being made small? That military gap that, Esau Edom used to have here, under his rulership, no countries could really fuck with him, man. But, pursuant to this 21st century, man, he really, all these nations have caught up to the U.S., man. There's Middle Eastern countries with nuclear capabilities now. You have the Russians with damn near everything, the U.S. military has over here, besides, a few small things. Because this is Great Babylon here in America. Russia's right there. That's why, when they you see the videos of the U.S. military training, pursuant to, Russia and, China, they call them near-peer competitors, because for the longest time, and during my service, we did some training geared towards near-peer competitors, but we mostly spent time training up for deployment and, all that sort of thing. So this is a new thing with, China being able to keep up. And pursuant to the hypersonic arms race, China is leading the hypersonic arms race, as well as, also the space race for, these space weapons, I guess you could say, for the so-called Star Wars. I forget, was it Reagan that brought it up, I know the elders would know, if there's any elders that watch the videos, you would know which president was talking about Star Wars a few decades ago. But yeah, man, this is prophecy that, these heathen nations would get to a point where, they're not really concerned with Esau like that anymore. They want to do their own thing. They want to usurp their own authority. They want to live under their own sovereignty. They want to make up their own rules. you know, because they're seeing that, you know, he deals treacherously with them, pursuant to uh, Ecclesiasticus, you know, that's what these other heathen nations know. The book of Sirach, man, 12 and 10, you know, never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, man. Roughly paraphrasing, you know, this is something that these other nations know, you know. For instance, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down. And you've heard a few weeks back how the Russians blasted their satellite, you know, well, it was an outdated one, but just to prove the point, you know, they blasted it out the sky, man. And, you know, they started having, you know, grievous communications with each other after that. But let me jump down to verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. You know, because all these nations were at one point or another in history confederate with each other, pursuing to the takedown of Yasharallah, man, and all the tribes. You know, so at one point, Esau Edom was confederate with Moab and Ishmael and Elam and, you know, all the other, you know, heathen in order to bring down Jake, man. You know? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So, you know, bringing you to the border meaning what? Warfare, man. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So at one point, like I was saying, you know, China was at peace with, you know, Esau Edom, and they had a common enemy, which was Yasharallah, man. You know, and have prevailed against thee. So all that, those confederate dealings with each other and the working together, you know, it worked against Esau, for lack of a better word. It worked against Esau. And what I mean by that is, you know, quick testimony. You know, my grandfather, he worked for Lockheed Martin, which is a defense contractor. They build missiles and satellites and numerous other things that I don't want to bring up for get a strike on my channel. And you know, my grandpa was one of the only Jake scientists there. You know, well, engineers, and most of the scientists, excuse me, were actually Moab. To be honest with you, most of the scientists were Moab. They were Jake from the Philippines. You know what I mean? A lot of European. So realistically, you know, like we always say, Esau is the creator of nothing. You know, he steals everything. So really, you know, these advances of his sword are highly attributable to the heathen themselves, man. And you know, I feel like that needs to be brought out, you know. At all these major defense contractors, a lot of these scientists, even back to when I was a child, man, are Moab, Ammon, you know, Teman, you know, all the nations that Esau is starting to have beef with, man. Oh, and I can't forget Elam. I mean, one of my grandpa's great friends at that job was an Elamite, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's talking about deceive thee. You know what I mean? Because if you know, Esau was smart, he would have been more homogenous with his military technology. What I mean by that is only having, you know, elite Edomites work on those technologies. But because he didn't, you know, you have Obadiah 1 and 7 because it was prophesied. You know? I'm going to finish the verse. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. You know? So, go back.
The machine guns on wheels, and they can be fired with a remote control. Beijing's decision to give robots to the PLA could have dangerous implications, not just for this region, but for the rest of the world too. Our next report tells you how.
So, you know, you just actually saw the apostles bring out a video And a couple camps ago, about 3 weeks ago, the apostle was talking about the military robots that Esau has here in the U.S. military in Babylon, with the interchangeable heads to where you could mount sniper rifles, and it's no coincidence, because the Most High comes in the volume of the book, and all the prophecies will be fulfilled. That you see Moab with the same thing, man.
There is a new threat from China. It is not a battalion of soldiers or wolf warrior diplomats. It's these machines. Initially, they would remind you of remote-controlled car toys. But look closely, these robots can do a lot more. They are equipped with the machine gun. Chinese soldiers can fire this gun from a distance and without any wires. There are
and real quick, Slovakia, that looks like the 240 that the U.S. military carries, and I was privy to fire that weapon system a lot in the military, and it has substantial range, and it's a robot, so you could even mount a 50 cal, and 50 cal, you have about 1,500 a meter, 15 Slovakia, about 1,500 meters that you could shoot a 50 cal with accurately. And if meters converted into feet, that's a mile, dude. The 240 Bravo, which it looks like is on there, not to be technical and divert from the scriptures, but that's shooting accurately out to since it's mounted about 1,000 meters, man. So this is almost you're talking about damn near a little bit over half a mile with that weapon system. You put a 50 cal on there, you have about, give or take, about a mile, a little less, depending on, different environmental factors, about a mile, man. So this is the type of warfare that we're about to see. And this is why the elders in the Akim are stressing the fact that we're coming into a time that has never been. The last wars that we've seen, even me when I was in the military, man, like these wars weren't some robotic, futuristic sort of situation. Before that, would you have Desert Storm? Then prior to that, in between that, you had Grenada and all the Panama, and then you had Vietnam, and these were still wars, fought with confused noise, man, with men. But you're seeing that, these weapon systems that they're willing to show us in the public are far, far more advanced, man. And like the apostles say, man, and the Akim always say, we're gonna need Yahweh Shai in this time, man. We're gonna need, the Heavenly Father to have a hedge around us, man, because we you can't really stand up to Esau's military before that, but how much more a robot, dude? Like, you shoot the robot, it's still gonna keep coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Situation. But yeah, I'll keep playing.
cameras too, to watch what the adversaries are doing. China calls this vehicle the Shark Claw. 88 of these have been deployed.
And with the camera systems on there, you're gonna see why. Among numerous other reasons why that there's a standard that's gonna have to be lifted, man. They don't have to come and knock on your door per se anymore. There's many a ways for Esau, Edom, and these other heathen powers to do harm to Jacob, man.
In Tibet, Shark Claw has a partner. It's the Mule 200. This is a transport vehicle, so not as lethal as the Shark Claw, but the Mule would be very useful for the PLA. It can be used to transport valuable supplies like ammunition. China has deployed around 120 of these in Tibet. Robots are now joining the People's Liberation Army. Their induction is a prelude to something more sinister.
And Yahushua talks about measuring the time diligently. diligently, Salakia. And, this isn't necessarily, they're not necessarily garnering troops towards the U.S. right now per se, but Russia is. And what you're seeing is a buildup of animosity between Moab and Elam. And that's another prophecy that Yahushua brought us. That would show us the beginning of sorrows, man. Wars and rumors of wars. Well, we're going through an artificial famine. There's pestilence, and we've had earthquakes in diverse places. So now we know that the highest is getting ready to visit that what she created, man. Roughly paraphrasing.
Now, a soldier will operate these robots. But in the future, China wants weapons with a mind of their own. The PLA wants weapons with artificial intelligence. Beijing is moving.
They don't want to have to convince soldiers anymore, and this is a common theme across the board. These nations are understanding that there's humans in their military that have human emotions and human attachments. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So with that being said, it's easier to accomplish a wicked agenda with, for lack of a better word, troops or whatever you want to call it, robotic soldiers that don't feel remorse, that don't care. They just execute the order.
Swiftly to acquire such capabilities. The efforts began in 2017 when China unveiled a new artificial intelligence development plan. It advocated the use of AI in the military. Specific applications were listed out, like providing support to command and decision-making, military deductions, and development of defense equipment and related application. Private sector was roped in to accelerate these efforts. Chinese big tech companies like Alibaba, Baidu, Tencent, Xiaomi, and Huawei were labeled as AI champions. The PLA stands to benefit from the rapid strides these companies make. Already, different wings of the Chinese military are working on specific projects. The PLA ground force is developing robotics for the military. The Navy is working on autonomous submarines, while the Air Force is developing drones with an ability to think. These
I mean, do I really got to break that down for y'all? You seen what's on Moab's mind, man, and you see Joel 3:10, which I'm getting ready to bring out, coming straight to life, man. The weak are no longer weak. The weak are saying, I am strong, man. And, measure thou the time diligently. Let's go to the scripts real quick so I can get ready to close it out. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 10. Beat your plowshares into plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And, there was a time when, Moab couldn't even handle Ammon. And Ammon being a tiny island, a tiny chain of islands compared to the vast landmass that is China. They really couldn't hold their own for the longest, even against Ammon themselves, man. So this is that prophecy, coming to pass, man. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. And this is speaking on, the valley of decision, Yehoshaphat, the valley of judgment, in the Middle East. However, I use this precept because you're seeing that it's no longer a cakewalk, so to speak, for Esau Edom. It's no longer, I will do as I will. He has to be very subtle, for the most part, internationally with his affairs, man. Here, yeah, he can, blatantly do whatever he wants because, the people here are just fucking sheep, but, these other nations, and he's aware of some of these prophecies, especially this one, you know what I'm saying? So he sees, you know, um, he sees these things going on. He has operatives in his CIA and Department of Homeland Security and NSA in deep cover black operations in these countries, gaining this information and this intel. Along with the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. You know, they have their secret agencies that conduct espionage, man. So he's seeing, through his spies, the weak making themselves strong, man. You know, and it's all going to culminate in the Valley of Decision, man. You know, it's going to be a domino effect, so to speak. So I'm just going to read verse 12. And we know this is talking about Yahweh Shaphat, which is in the Valley of Decision. I'm just using the precept. Let the heathen be wakened, which you're seeing, and this is a recent thing, even going back to the early 50s, man. Moab was still like coming out of that low estate, man, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, which is Valley of Decision, for there will I set to judge all the heathen around about. So some way or another, these wars or rumors of wars are going to turn into rumors, or are not going to be rumors. It's going to become a hot war where you have all these nations fighting against each other. And it says, for there I will sit and judge all the heathen. So, Yahweh Shai will appear, and the great multitude of the heathen, in their fighter jets, in their so-called chariots, are going to try to fight against Yahweh Shai and his chariots and the mighty angels and the army of Yasharallah, man. Yeah, so just to edify.
These advancements should raise an alarm worldwide. Unfortunately, world power.
And you heard what she said. These advancements should raise an alarm worldwide. And I just read, let the weak say that I am strong. And in Obadiah, Esau is being made small among the heathen. This is supposed to raise an alarm.
Are still ignoring the threat. This month, the United Nations tried to open negotiations for an international treaty on autonomous weapons.
Now, United Nations, headed by Esau, Edom, and the United States, aka Great Babylon, want to create a so-called treaty, which they would break anyways, because they want to limit the advancement of the heathen. But Xi Jinping and the CCP and China are not going to hear that. Putin is not going to hear that anymore, man. They're both tired of the sanctions. They're tired of the runaround. They're tired of the political and military posturing, and this is all prophecy. And really, it's the Most High's doing. The Most High is controlling the minds of the kings and jostling them to and fro, whichever way he will. You know what I'm saying? Roughly paraphrasing, man.
They failed. None of major weapons producing countries were willing to have a conversation. These stonewalling tactics work to Beijing's advantage. The PLA gets more time to perfect the AI technology and develop killer robots. Weapons.
I mean, wow, man. This is cut and dry. You hear it. No need to break that down.
That could make the world a more dangerous place.
Yahweh Shai said, I don't come to set peace, but a sword.
Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And with that, I hope this was an edifying video for you guys. I hope, it helped wake up the hopeful elect and the elect. And yeah, I just hope it was edifying for you guys. And with that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Harakak Double honor to the elders, great millstone. Honors to Joachim, doing this work in truth and sincerity, presenting, you know, the elect with this 144% truth, and a sincere shalom to the hopeful 1/3. Shalom.